Well, hi everybody. How are you doing today? It is Finance Friday, and this is episode number 2. And it's kind of cold here in Indiana, so I grabbed my trusty sweater. When the heat turns on, I get warm. It just turned off. I may have to take my sweater off here. And I'm cold without it, hot with it on. So that's how life rolls sometimes. Um, so today is January 16th, and last week we started a new series called Financial Fridays, and I gave you guys some things to think about. And one was, what is my why? Why do I want to budget? And I gave some of my whys, and I didn't take it out of the workbook. My whys, I have a workbook I like to use. It's the Budget Mom. And so she has a financial goal worksheet, but you can use a piece of paper. I just wrote down my goals for 2026, and mine aren't very exciting. My house is 30 years old, and I need to think about replacing the furnace, the windows, the carpet. It's kind of boring, isn't it? But they're things we should think about. So I kind of wrote down a few things. How will I get the money to update my house? And these were my thoughts, and I'm still in the thinking stage. One was to get a part-time job. One is to make more money on YouTube, which is kind of a part-time job. And there's also temporary assignments. I could do that. Not sure I want to. And then there's always being more diligent about saving money. So I sat down this week and I worked on my budget for 2026. And after I pay all my bills, and I did start a sinking fund. And a sinking fund is, something is going to happen. For example, I set up sinking fund for birthdays and Christmas. And I know how much I'm going to spend on everybody for birthdays this year. In my Christmas budget, which could change, right now I've got it sitting at $360 for the year. So it's January, and by December 1st, I want to save up $360 to spend on Christmas. And this is a sinking fund. So I take $360 divided by 12. I need to save $30 a month. So I'm pre-planning. Christmas happens every December 25th. So I'm planning for that. So what I did it yesterday. I'm going to do this once a month. I have my checking account at the credit union, and I have savings accounts. So I put in $30 for Christmas into my little savings account. I had a couple other small things I wanted to add to. I forget what I put in now. I put in $60 altogether. I had Christmas, birthdays, my license plates for my car is due in August, and then I just paid my HOA fee, and that was $181. So I'm going to start saving up for that too. So $60 a month is going into my little savings account. And I debated moving that money over to a high yield savings account. And I thought, as low as it is, I'm just going to leave it right there. And most of my things will come due later on in the year. And as far as birthdays go, the majority of my grandchildren, their birthdays fall in the fall. So I need to save up because I have 2 in September and 3 in October and 1 in December. So that's the bulk of them. And if it's only just for one grandchild, it's not so bad. But when you got 2 or 3, it kind of snowballs real quick how much it costs. So those are some of my goals. I'm kind of brainstorming how to start saving up for long-term big projects, and also the sinking funds for things that I know will come due this year. So I started that. That was the easy part. And I had kind of a come to Jesus moment with me, for me. And I discovered, much to my dismay, after I pay all my bills and I do my sinking funds, I come out with like $33 left over at the end of the month. So this is serious, to stay afloat and stay in the black instead of the red. So I know some of you are in the same boat I'm in, and we are just going to wade through this together, and we will conquer it. We will do good. Okay. So I said to come up with your why you want a budget, and I have my goals, and I told you what my goals were. And another thing, when we do planning, and I forgot to bring my notes with me, there's the SMART acronym. It's specific, measurable, attainable. What's the R? I forget what the R is. And in a timely fashion. So if we have a goal, I know I talked last week, if you wanted to save $1,000 in a year, you needed to save $83 a month. So that was a specific goal that we could do. So I just wanted to recap that a little bit. My mind sometimes is like Dory the fish. I love Dory the fish on Nemo, when she just goes swimming, swimming, swimming. And sometimes my brain goes like that. It kind of, I think of it for a second and then it just swims away. I know I'm being silly, but sometimes you gotta laugh a little when you're working on things called finances. So, and another thing we were going to start doing this week, if you're following along, is keeping track of things we buy. And here's my easy notebook here. I take cash out for groceries, and I save the receipts. I found them in a little doohickey here. And so I've got these all together. So I spent, so far, I spent $44 one week, and then the second week was $60. So I had this little one, and then later on, at the end of my live, at the end of this little clip, I did a walkthrough of my budgeting process. So I did that yesterday, and I'll go into more detail of how I do my monthly budgeting. So, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview. So far in January, I've bought 2 items. And then every morning, I go onto my bank account and I check my credit union bank statement, make sure nothing fishy happened. I'm on the Dory theme here. And so I check to see if there's any new activity in my checking account. So I do that every morning. And then this morning I got an email. I get emails for all of my utility bills. I don't get snail mail anymore. I get emails. And I'm going to show you this here. It may be backwards, but I can't read it right now. But I got an email this morning saying that my water bill is due on February 4th, and it will be $37.92. So this is a planner that I have. But when I get an email that tells me how much my next utility bill is going to be. I get this out and I write it down right away so I don't forget. I like using the Budget Mom, and I'm not sponsored by her. I talked about her last week, and I'll put her YouTube channel down below. So if you're interested, you can take a look at it. But I really like her pen and paper method of tracking all your expenses. So I printed off. This is my cash account, and I'll go into more detail later on. And then this is my checking account, and then I don't use a credit card very often, but I came up with a pretend credit card expense tracker. I did order a couple things from Amazon, and I charge it to my debit card, which goes to my checking account. But I just thought, for an example, I would show how to record our receipts that we get online, because a lot of times we don't get the physical receipts anymore. We do when we go to the grocery store or retail store, but like all my utility bills, I get an email. I don't get a paper bill anymore. So I kind of wanted to integrate the old-fashioned way and the new way, so we can keep track of all our expenses, and that is very important. So I think that is it for me on the live section. Well, I think so. I am going to turn off my camera here, and then I'm going to show you my video. And the rest of the video, I just took a picture of whatever I'm talking about, and then I'll discuss each thing. So I hope that works for everybody. So for the rest of the video, what I did was I took a snapshot of, for example, my pretend credit card expense worksheet, and I discuss it in detail. And I hope that's okay. I didn't know how else to do it. I don't have a camera where you can. Some people have a little flip up thing on their cameras or their cell phones so they can see what they're recording, and I don't have that. So I took pictures and then I discuss them, and you won't see me, but you'll hear my voice. So I think that is going to be it for me, and I appreciate any comments. If you like the way that I'm presenting my personal finance, let me know. If there's things that you think I could improve upon, I'd appreciate that too. And maybe we can generate some conversations each week of how different people do things differently. So I just want to build a community that we can do our finances well and with confidence. And I just want us to be successful. And I just thought of the third thing was, a lot of people aren't comfortable tracking all their expenses every month, but it's a part of our lives. And I'm hoping that what I do will make sense, and it's not too hard to do. And we can all work on it together. On my screen, I have shown my transactions I've made into my checking account for the first half of January. And I'm going to make my screen bigger. So my starting balance on 1/1/26 was $1,400.10. I like to record my transactions on a software package I bought from the Budget Mom. It's TBN. I really like the Budget Mom, And you can see the circle in the upper left-hand corner. It says TBM. That's her trademark. And she has a personal budget planner that I really like. So this is what I'm using. If you want to track things, you can get out a piece of paper and pencil and write everything down, or you could create a spreadsheet. But I kind of like using this, and I will show a spreadsheet later on. So this is just my daily transactions, what I record every day. So this is an expense tracker for January, and the account is checking. And I also have two other pages. I have a pretend credit card page and a cash page, and we'll review all of those. So here we go. On January 1, my actual checking account balance was $1,400.10. And I've color-coded a few things just to make it easier for everybody to see and for me to add up the items at the end of the month. So first thing we see is Ancestry.com, and the category is sub, which is subscriptions. And then further on down, you can see it's Microsoft 365. That's another subscription. So at the end of the month, when I glance over all my categories, I can just tally them all up. And then I wrote colors off to the side because the markers I use, some of the colors kind of look alike. So I wanted to make sure I had the right colors with the right category. Okay. Excuse me. So I do get a small pension every month. And since January 1st was a holiday, I usually get it on the 1st. But I received the payment on January 2nd. It's $169.48. So this is a deposit. And I forgot to go over the headings to begin with. At the top of the spreadsheet, at the top of the expense tracker, we have date, transaction, category, withdrawal, deposit, and the ending balance. When I did the Ancestry subscription, so I noted the date, the transaction, which is where the transaction is the company I purchased from. And then I have a category, withdrawal, and deposit. So we can see the subscription for $5 is a withdrawal. And then the pension is income. And then we noticed on January 2nd, I have a Kroger credit card with a star by it. I do occasionally use a Kroger credit card. And I'm going to be honest here. I ordered something in November, and I ordered a book, and I totally forgot I used my credit card, so I did not pay it. And then in December, I ordered something small, and when I got the credit card statement, it was $46. I'm going, oh no! And they charged me $1 for late payment. I just wanted to be honest here. Occasionally I do use a credit card, and I totally forgot. And my excuse is it's a Kroger credit card. It says Kroger credit card. But the name of the credit card company is US Bank, and I just totally ignored it when I got the email. So be wiser than me and read all your credit card statements you get online. And then on 1/4, my auto insurance came out, and I made that in a dark color. And I haven't bought gas yet this month, so when I put gas in my car, I'll make it the same color as the State Farm auto insurance. And I withdrew cash, and it was for groceries, $120, and I have my cash expense tracker on another sheet, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then the next few items are mostly utility bills, and I made them all one color because you'll see my spreadsheet. All my housing, my mortgage, and my utility bills are all in one section. So I made them all the one color. And one thing I do is if I have multiple transactions, I don't total everything up till the end of the day. So that's kind of why you don't see an ending balance for every line. So that's just something I do. And then on 1/6, I had my Microsoft 365. And then also on January 6th, I purchased some items at Meijer, and I need to update that. I found the receipt. I actually bought a curling iron and hairspray, which is not groceries. And then on January 7th, when I had my tooth pulled, the dentist overcharged me by $36, and they called me and said, you have a $36 credit on your on your account. So I got that back. And then City Utilities is another utility. For Amazon, I'm going to use Amazon as a pretend credit card. I will have another expense tracker for Amazon. And let's see, first 5, I made a donation to them. I have talked in the past about using a budget for my utility bills, and when my utility bills are low, I put them into a little savings account. So in January, my NIPSCO, it's my gas bill, was $135, and my budget is $63. So I transferred $60 from my savings account into my checking account, and that'll show up as a deposit. So I did that, and I have $124. I had $124 in my savings account for utility bills, and I took out $60, and I'm guessing in February my gas bill will probably be high too. So I'm going to clear out my little savings account in February. And then first 5, I had an additional donation. If you donated, you could get a free ebook. And I forgot to ask for the free ebook, so it cost $1 for the ebook. So that's that. And then I did not record this, but I received my Social Security deposit. I want to keep that private. I wrote a check for my annual HOA payment. It was $181, and I was going to use my credit card or my debit card, and they wanted to charge me $6 for a processing fee. And I thought, nope, I'm going to write them a check, and a stamp is a lot cheaper than $6. I had a small medical bill I needed to pay. So I took that out. And then I'm not quite sure how to do this. My Medicare health insurance is $202.90. And it shows up on my spreadsheet. So I just put that in parentheses as a note. And that is my checking account. On the screen, you will see that I have my January expense tracker for cash. And I wanted to show how I track cash. And as you can see, on January 5th, I deposited $120 from checking into my cash account, which is just plain old cash. And then on January 5th, I went to Kroger and I spent $44.15. And then on January 11th, I went to Kroger's again and I spent $60 $2.77. And both times I went to Kroger's, it was all groceries. And as you can see, I started out with, if you look at the ending balance, you can see that I started with $120, and then I subtracted the $44.15 and the $60.77, and I have $16 left. And I noted on here pink, and if we look at my checking account, we will see I withdrew $120 from my checking account, and that is also coded in pink. So that is my cash so far for January. The next screen I am showing for January is a pretend credit card account. And I ordered a couple things from Amazon, and I really paid for it with my debit card, but I wanted to pretend using a credit card because I know a lot of people do use a credit card. So we are going to record what we purchased from Amazon. And I used the category household. I bought some Pyrex replacement lids for my glass containers. That was $23.34. And then I bought ink toner for my printer. That was $12.72. And I paid for it on January 7th. The total was $36.06. And off to the side, you can't see very well, it has the color mauve. And when we look at my checking account, we will see a matching color coding. So whether we are paying with cash or credit card or writing a check or doing an online bank transaction, we want to record everything that we have done. This is my pretend credit card transactions. And as I said earlier, a lot of people do use credit cards. It's a good idea to review your credit card statement every month because sometimes people do automatic charges to their credit card. They may have subscriptions to something. I'm just going to throw one out there. Let's say you subscribe to Netflix. Well, maybe you don't watch Netflix anymore, but it's showing up on your credit card statement every month. Contact Netflix and turn that off. So it's a good thing to check our credit card statements. Again, we're still learning how to budget. Right now, it's not a right or a wrong. We're just tracking what we spend every month. So be brave, open that credit card statement and read it and document everything you purchase on your credit card. Put it on a piece of paper, or if you have a spreadsheet, do that, but just keep track of what you're spending on your credit card. We're still reviewing everything. So that is my pretend credit card.